Hi, Kendra.
Good afternoon, Jessica. It's good to see you again. How have you been since our last few sessions?
Well, I'm feeling a little better. I'm still feeling like really anxious throughout the day, and I've been working on the deep breathing. There were fewer flashbacks, but I'm still having trouble sleeping through the night. I'm having these like nightmares that I'm with my ex-husband and I can see his face like super clearly. So like I wake up and I'm really anxious and like covered in sweat, and then I have to like get out of bed and like check the doors, make sure they're locked, and like check the windows, and it's like really scary.
Wow. I'm really sorry that you're going through that. And I completely understand with all you've been through in your past experiences, with the violence in your home between your mom and your dad, and just your own intimate partner violence with your ex-husband, that you probably have a lot of unresolved emotion and negative symptoms that we have to address. Um, but as we discussed last week, due to your experiences with men in violence, your stress response system has been adjusted. It's been altered a bit, and you become hyper vigilant, or I guess in other words, on guard a lot. But this is a means of protecting you. So your recent attempt at getting into a new relationship has set off red flags in your stress response system, even though there is no stressor or threat. And does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, Jason's been a perfect gentleman, and I really enjoyed getting to know him. But I just feel so like overwhelmed and like fearful, and I should be like excited, but like I actually like keep canceling dates on him. He must think I'm a jerk.
Hmm. I mean, I can see even right now that you're getting a little tense and you're anxious. And I want you to just like right now, just take a deep breath in and out. We're just gonna do it together. Ready? Okay. So how are you feeling right now?
A little frustrated. Like I'm worried that I'm gonna screw up like something that could be a healthy relationship and what could be like a great future because of all this like past stuff.
Yeah. I understand your feelings. And today I would like to work with you on some cognitive processing to really understand what you've experienced and how it's playing in your current reality. You may start feeling a little anxious, but we can stop at any time. And we'll also practice some helpful self-regulation techniques to give you more control over your negative thoughts and emotions when you start to feel like overwhelmed by them. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
Great. Well, we're going to start by revisiting your childhood. What memories do you have of your parents' relationship?
So my mom she's great. She's really like kind, really warm. She was always really protective of me and my younger brother, especially around my dad. When he was drinking, he never hurt me or my brother, and I think he tried to like provide for us and everything. But he was verbally and physically abusive to my mom, sometimes like in front of us too. And the strange thing is, like, my mom never talked about it, and my dad died 10 years ago, and we still can't like talk or bring up any of that. And it's like it never happened.
Wow. I mean, and how does that make you feel growing up in that experience in your home and seeing that abuse on a regular basis, but having no one address it?
I don't know. I guess I was afraid, but like I was also a little ashamed.
Hmm. Tell me a little more about those feelings, the shame and like the fear.
Um, well, I love my mom, but it was like horrible waking up every day not knowing what would set off my dad and like how bad it would be. And then I was ashamed because I wouldn't know, like maybe the neighbors would have to call the police again, and that was like really embarrassing. And I never wanted to like invite my friends over because I didn't know if my dad was going to be drunk and angry. And I know it sounds horrible, but I kind of feel like my mom like deserved it. Like maybe she was doing something that like pissed off my dad, and like it didn't matter how kind she was and how submissive, like he found a way to be angry and she allowed it to happen. I
Hmm.
just like never understood it until like I had an abusive relationship myself.
That's interesting that you recognize that and that you bring up that point. Do you see your experience with, that violence in your relationship any different than what you think your mom went through?
Like, I guess it's really sad to say, but like, not really. Like, love can be blind, and I made excuses for so long. Like, for 5 years I was married to him and I thought it would stop, and I tried everything to save our marriage, and like, nothing I did could fix it.
Um, and I can see that I know from our conversations, you really loved your ex-husband and wanted the relationship to work. But honestly, domestic violence, it's a cycle of one person trying to maintain power and control over another person. And it looks like, you take, you took a lot of responsibility for something that you had no control of. Um, does that sound right? Does that sound correct?
Yeah, I did. I understand that now. I realized that I was trying to like make myself into someone I wasn't, and try to make another person like happy or less insecure, and it wasn't my responsibility, and I almost got me killed. Like, I never thought that I would ever be able to trust anyone again, and I thought I deserved to be alone.
And how do you feel about the opportunity now to be in another relationship that's healthy?
Like, I think I'm ready. I believe that I deserve to be happy, and I just feel like insecure about my ability to be a good partner because I wasn't raised with the example of a healthy relationship, and I feel like it's doomed to like happen again. And now that I've met this like great guy, like, I can't get over my fear that that's going to happen again.
Hmm. Well, Jessica, let's stop here and take a moment to reframe some of these thoughts that we've been talking about. Um, just for consideration, first, we could acknowledge that your mother's story doesn't have to be yours. You're here now because you recognize that you were unhappy and unsafe in your past, relationship, in your marriage, and you made a tough decision to put an end to that cycle of abuse. And not everyone is strong enough to follow through with that action. And so you just need to acknowledge that you are a strong, brave, smart woman, and we're able to put an end to that, and that's not the life you wanted to live. And secondly, we can acknowledge that this relationship can, it can be different. This new relationship could be different and could be good for you. You're in a new situation with someone who treats you well, and you're making a better decision for yourself. And how does that feel when you look at the situation in that way?
I guess it makes me feel like I have like some control over my happiness, and that like I'm progressing, beyond my past.
Exactly. Um, what can what we can do for the next few minutes of our session actually is work on some mindfulness skills to help you push past these negative thoughts when they start coming in, and we can continue to progress past them, and so that you can enjoy this new relationship. Does that sound good?
Yeah, sounds really good.
Great. So what I think we're going to do is, if you could just, hopefully you're comfortable in the seat you're in right now. If you feel comfortable, you can close your eyes or you can keep them open. And I just want you to sit up, straight and tall, and relax your shoulders. And if you can just, overlap your hands and put the palm of your hand on your stomach so you can feel your breathing. So you should be able to feel the breathing in and out, with your stomach going in and out. And I want you to listen to the sound of your own breathing for just a moment. So now I want you to imagine that there is a warm light shining on the really top, the tippy top, the crown of your head. And it's going down, scanning your forehead now. And you feel the warmth of this light as it fills, you feel it on your face, it's going down to your nostrils, it's filling your nostrils. You feel the warmth on your lips and your chin, and just scanning down. And it continues to move down towards your chest. And as it moves, think about any tension you might feel, in your shoulders, in your back. And just relax those muscles and listen, and loosen the tension, and just listen to your breathing, to the sound of my voice as well. If your mind starts to wander, kind of just bring it back. It's perfectly fine. And the light is traveling down. You feel the warmth now on your thighs and each of your legs. You feel that warmth. Now you feel it on every toe, on every individual toe, you're feeling that warmth as you press them into the ground. And so now we're just going to take a few more deep breaths. We're going to take a deep breath. We're going to hold it for 3 seconds and breathe it out again for 3 seconds. And take a couple more. And when you're ready and when you feel comfortable, you can open your eyes. So how do you feel right now?
I feel really calm.
That's good. We'll continue practicing more skills to help you regulate when you're stressed, specifically that breathing. But right now, our session's ending, and I want to give you a homework assignment for the next week. Each day, I want you to take about 5 minutes to do some journaling. We're going to start by writing out a fear that you have about this new relationship, if you want to write that on the top of the page. And I want you to describe that fear. Just put everything down on paper, just everything you're feeling. And where does that fear come from? I want you to just write all of that out. And then I want you to consider what would happen if the opposite of that fear happened. What would that look like on a positive level? And then if you start to feel anxious, during the writing, feel free to stop and, take a few minutes and repeat the breathing exercises again on the one that we just did. And when you're in a good place, if you are able to, you can continue writing. And I really look forward to seeing what you have next week. And we'll just continue working through this process. And you're doing really, really well. I just want you to know that you're very strong for even just being here.
Thank you. I'll see you next week.
See you next week.